What I came to realize is that there are three things that hold a lot of business owners back. Matter of fact, I think this was us for a really long time. Going from $5,000 to $1 million a year, that took a lot of adjustments. And when I was talking to one of my clients recently, I realized that he was making the same mistake that I did. Hey guys, if you don't know me, my name is Jennifer Waters. I run a brick and mortar martial arts school that went from doing like $5K a month to over $1 million a year. And now I actually work with companies all over the world, United States, Australia, Canada, the UK, and help them grow their school and academies. And I've learned a couple of different things along the way. And one of those things is that it's important to understand why your business is stuck and why you're not scaling. Why you can go from generating just a few $1,000s a month to over $1 million a year. Why you might be the reason that your business hasn't thrived and what you can do about it. And so I was actually discussing this the other day with a client that their business has really just been stuck and has not been moving forward. And so I was really just trying to release this bottleneck that this particular client has. And what I came to realize is that they were stuck in this loop of, I can't make the business succeed because I can't dedicate enough time to it and I don't have enough money to dedicate to it as well. Honestly, I would say that if you're trying to grow your business, there comes a point in time where you either have to just keep letting it go the way it is, or you have to invest an exorbitant amount of time or an exorbitant amount of money to make it start producing. There really is no middle ground in my experience. I know that that was the case for us. My father had been running the martial arts school since 1982. Now fast forward to 2005, 2006, the business hadn't grown. It had just been paying its bills. It was a hobby-based business that had the potential to be a full-scale business, $1 million a year business, had the potential to impact thousands of lives, but it wasn't. And the real reason that it wasn't is because he didn't have the time, because he was in full-time construction mode, and he also, because that was his job in construction, but he also wasn't going all in. I mean, I remember times where even though he was working both, he was doing full-time construction and at night doing full-time martial arts teaching, we weren't dedicated to going all in as a family. We hadn't made that decision, me, my dad, my mom, to put everything we had into growing the school. We dipped our toes into the water of business. We were trying to learn some hacks or some secrets, but we hadn't actually invested all of our time and all of our money to make this thing grow. And my client in particular is in the same boat. He was and is still thinking about how does he move out of this part-time facility, this part-time business that he wants to grow, because his full-time gig is actually kind of nice. So first of all, I think that your mindset has to shift. If you want this business to grow and overtake your full-time thing that you've got going on, you've got to think about it differently. Here's the thought process that I find most people get into. I need this business to give me money for me to take a full leap into the business. The reality of that is that it's not going to. Most businesses don't even turn a profit for the first 3 years that they're in business. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't turn a profit for the first 3 years, but most of them don't. Matter of fact, most small businesses turn over a very small profit anyway. And in order for you to get out of that cycle of small profit or no profit at all, you have to understand that you've got to invest a ton of time, ton of energy, and a ton of money into the small business. So that's step one. Step two is after we shift our mindset, we start thinking about the business as an investment, we also need to think about it in the terms of an investment over time. You see, if I were to tell you right now, go and invest in the S&P 500, and I want you to get out as much money as possible in the next year out of the S&P 500 as a return on your investment. Now the S&P 500, depending upon what you invest in, typically has an annual return between 5 to 8% if you're conservative. Now if you go and invest it into something crazy that it has explosive levels of growth and also has a high chance that that growth may implode, well, you may be able to get double that return or triple or something like that, but the likelihood of doing that is much lower. To get a great return on your investment in the S&P 500 in the stock market, you have to think about playing it over the long game. You have to think about playing in terms of bigger numbers of investment in order to see that investment grow. And it's actually no different with your small business. When I shift my mindset from I need this thing to spit out cash tomorrow to I'm gonna put money into this business to get it going, to get it profiting, to get it doing those things, but I'm gonna be in it for the long term, the way in which I run my business is totally different. I'm not looking for the get rich quick schemes. I'm looking for the opportunities to expand my business and to take over more market share and to invest back into my company, because I know that the more I invest and I layer onto this company, the longer I can withstand pulling money back out of that company, the greater my profit is gonna be in the long term. So what do you do if you're stuck? If you need this business to make money and you need to make money now, the fastest and most important thing for you to do is to get to $10,000 a month. You have to be able to get to $10,000 a month. So if you have to cut back on eating out, if you have to cut back on recreational activities, if you have to cut back on everything else so that you have as minimal as possible to cover your own personal expenses, if that means moving back in with somebody, if that means moving out of your house to a house that has a lower mortgage payment, if that means renting, I don't know what it means for you, but what I do know is that you need to leave as little of a footprint as possible out of your personal expenses so you can take as little as possible from the business and get it to $10,000. Because once you can get that business to $10,000 a month, now we can really start playing with a few things that are very important. The first is going to be you being able to invest back into advertising. Up to $10,000 a month, you probably don't need that much paid advertising. You can work with referrals, you can work with lead generation events, especially if you're a brick and mortar business like a martial arts school, gymnastics, dance, cheer, something like that. You can go out in the community, get those community members to you, and then convert them over. You can have a website that's converting prospects, but if you can, on the regular, sell your services, sell your programs that you have for a couple of $1,000s and turn that around over and over again. If I'm able to do that with 3 to 4 clients a month, 3 to 4 new students a month, I'm gonna be able to hit $10,000 in a month just from those few. And then I can stack on monthly recurring revenue or something else that's going to help me have at least a baseline cushion so that I can go out and get more people in the door and get them paying for their services in advance. It gives me a little bit more cushion. So I can keep doing this rinse and repeat method until I'm at 10K a month. And then once I'm at 10K, then I need to divert some of that funds, some of those funds that I've been saving or that I've been trying to get out of the company and push that back towards marketing. Think about that like you have a fire that's already growing and you're gonna put logs on that fire. That fire is gonna start roaring even more. So once you get to that 10K a month, now we can really start growing our business. We can really start thinking about whether or not we're going to switch from our full-time gig that we have into this full-time, or if we're still gonna keep that full-time gig and then keep reinvesting back into the business and get it to the next stage, which would be about $30,000 a month. Whatever you do, I would say your number one priority is to get it to 10K a month. Finally, if you're thinking to yourself, gosh, Jen, like 10K a month, okay, but when do I actually start pulling money out of this business? Like I said earlier, the longer you can wait, the greater your opportunity is to be able to invest back into the business and grow it into this behemoth of a business. But at some point, you do actually need to be taking profit. There's a great book by Michael Mikowicz called Profit First. If you haven't read this book yet, I highly recommend that you read this book. There's a link in the description for this as well, but I would definitely go and I would read that book because in the book, Michael talks a lot about how if you design your business around you as an owner, gaining profit first and then fitting everything else into it, that you'll prioritize the business's growth in the long term. Because ultimately, we add on things that we shouldn't, or we bring on team members that we shouldn't hire yet because our business model itself is faulty. And once we realize that I've got a business model that's faulty, we have a couple of decisions to make. We either change the business model to be a more effective business model, or we keep operating the business with low to minimal profit. So if you're a school or academy owner and you're barely profiting, maybe you're not even bringing home a paycheck each month, and you're ready to get out of this insanity loop, I'd highly recommend you go to sevenfiguredojo.com so that you can get some information on what we do to help businesses just like yours. And if you're thinking to yourself, okay, prioritize profit, get this business model in place, and then scale, how do I do that? Just remember, the most important thing is get to 10K. Once you get to 10K, the next 30, 50, and then 83, which is gonna put you at $1 million, that's not gonna take a long time because you've already built up your business basics. So if you really wanna scale fast, get to 10K, then start deploying money back to advertising. Then that's gonna take you up to 30K. Once you're at 30K, then you're gonna want to have multi-channels of marketing and distribution going on. And then once you get to 30 to get you to 50, you're gonna need to add people into your business. And once you add people into your business, you're gonna multiply their efforts for marketing to get new students or new clients in your door, which is going to get you up to $1 million a year. And this is how you're able to scale any business extremely fast. Hey, listen, if you got a ton of value out of this video, the best way for you to let somebody else get the same amount of value is to hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel, because we're dropping videos like this all the time, and it's designed to help you become a better entrepreneur because we are turning people's passion into profit. I'll see you guys next time.